Hi guys, so today I want to try out my Centro 40 pin to just make a really long scarf. We're going to do a waste yarn kind of cast on and cast off and go from there. So this happens to be one that I had picked up on Amazon. Again, it's the 40 pin. You can do this on the 48, 46, whatever you have. Obviously smaller than that, it's going to be a very skinny scarf. This one's already going to be kind of small as it is or thin as it is. But I'll have this linked in the description box. That would be an affiliate link, which means I'll make a small commission if you purchase those links. Sorry about the lighting that's so dark down here. It's just I'm in my craft room now, and I think this is where I'll be making these videos, but you know, it's obviously the Centro. You have your tensioner down here. Oh, it's really stuck down. And, you know, we'll cast on like we do and all that kind of good stuff. So, I recently picked this up at Michael's because I thought it was super cute. This Caron cinnamon swirl cakes. I have not had the best luck using Caron yarn in these machines, so we will see how it goes. Hopefully I don't have to switch out at some point for something else, but that's what I'll be using. It does have a lot of colors in it, so to do the waste yarn, I'm bringing in some black yarn because I figure there's not really black in here. It'll be easy for me to see the difference so that we can sew it up at the end. With a, you know, scarf like this, you can just leave it with the curled ends, and that looks really cute. Obviously it's a tube and it's going to be open, but the curled ends look really cute. But I'm going to finish it off with a crochet like bind off, or not bind off, but to finish it. I'm trying to see what is the center of this guy. Like I see this is here, okay, and that's the outer one, okay, so it's good to know. We'll put that somewhere else. And maybe this is the center pole, the little stripy color. No. Let's dig in here. What are we going for? It might be, it's just not... I don't know about that one. Let's look on this side. Oh, it happens to be a little pinky greeny one. I don't know what's up with that blue. So we just put that to the side for now. We're not going to need this, but it is a cake, and I'm just going to pull it from the center. And then I have this black yarn that I'll be casting on with. Sorry, I'm just moving some things. And, you know, I recently did a video where I had put in one of these counters, so we have that. My black needle is here, already pretty much in the position I would want it to be, so I'm going to cast on with this black yarn that should be the same weight, worsted weight. It feels thicker though, so you really want to cast on with a yarn that's about the same so your machine doesn't get thrown off that you started this way and now you're doing something else. Let me put this yarn over here on this side. And I'm just going to start casting on as we do. So I'm going to catch that there and just start turning it. So in front of that one, behind the next one, right? In front of the next one, and behind the next one as we go, in front of this guy, making sure it's catching as you go. And I'll do a few rounds after I get this all cast on, because we definitely want to have something so that our whole project doesn't unravel, right? Oh, it's getting tight, so I need to get myself some slack over here. Oopsie, what am I doing? Do not want it going backwards. And I'll just reset my counter whenever this comes back through after I'm done casting on a little bit. And with casting on, obviously you're turning the handle and going from there. Okay. And it should be behind that one, so that is good. That's where you want to end up. And then you're going to put your yarn in all the way into the little tube. There's a little tube here in the back of this guy that you definitely need to get into. So there we go. And this one is just laying here because that's the beginning. I'm kind of holding it with my hand and just doing a couple turns, slowly but surely. Just making sure we're catching this ribbon. I don't have it in the tension or anything, I'm just holding it in my hand. So since this is the first time I've worked on this in my craft room, I'll know next time what to do as far as the lighting, because it is kind of... And I'm just holding the yarn in my hand, you guys, and holding the machine. So that's roughly 2 rounds. And let me get some more yarn. I'll just do like 4 or 5 rounds. I don't really have it stuck down to my countertop. So actually now I'm going to put this tensioner in the middle tension because I need to really hold this machine. So I just put it into the middle hole. Making a popping sound, and that's not great. So It's not enjoying this yarn, is what we're getting told here. Okay. So hopefully I don't have too many problems. Now, I just came back around here. I want my yarn to catch here. So, let's do one more round. At least one more round. Okay. So now I have 5, 6 rounds or so. I'm going to cut off my yarn. And I'm going to pass it through here. And basically, I want it to catch. Now, if this is the beginning or the end, it depends on what you think this one is. It is number 1. Like, if I want to drop this off, I suppose I can. Or I can just catch my color in the next one. So I'm going to catch my color in this next white one, which is actually number 40, you know, if you're looking at it. So that one's going to drop off, but we do want to make sure it's still catching. And we'll bring in the new color, which is this guy. Leave yourself a little bit for your binding off. You don't need too much, you know, maybe just a foot or so, but less than that, to be honest. Now I'm going to go ahead and string this through that little pipe, making sure it's all the way through there. I'm going to put it in the middle tensioner because this yarn is kind of thin and I feel like in the middle it should do okay. And I'm going to hold both of these guys out here and I'm going to start turning. Actually, let me reset my counter and I'll start turning. And as I get a few away, like over here, I'm going to tie those off. So let me get my arm out of the way. Sorry, guys. You can put a tie or a knot, whatever helps you. We're going to have to take that apart later, so I don't really want a whole knot there. And let's see how it does with this yarn. So let's get going. I can see it's not pushing down very well, so I think my tension needs to be a little bit tighter. So I'm going to put it in the smaller tension, the one up in front. Sorry. Because, again, when you come around, it needs to drop off of this. So as you can see, the last time it was here, it was still here, it was still here, it was still here. That's not a good sign. Like even this one, see how it's, oopsie, where are we at? It's still up here? That's not great. Push it down, okay? It needs to be, they need to be down. That's not good. So I'm gonna watch it as I come through. And the reason the tension needs to be tighter, now I'm seeing it, look at, hopefully you can see it's dropping off, is because it'll pull it. The tension's tighter, so it's pulling it off of here for you, and that's what you need. So let's keep going, making sure I'm not having any drop stitches or any tuck stitches or anything funky. It looks pretty good. All right, so this little thin yarn likes to be in that little tighter tension. I'm gonna let it go a couple more times. Yeah, that's definitely pulling in. And that is one thing I've noticed whenever I work with these machines. You want that drop off. If you don't have that drop off, it's not great, guys. You can have some trouble. So let me pull this. I can see that one still hasn't dropped quite off. Let's try to do a little bit more. And for this scarf, I'm literally just going to let it go. I'm not doing anything, oops, sorry, funky. I'm just going to keep turning until pretty much the whole cake is gone. So I'm just going to be watching it and turning, making sure everything's, oops, sorry. I'm still kind of figuring out what I'm going to do in this craft room, if I'm going to keep working in here with, you know, the yarn, this kind of thing. Okay, I'm just going to keep going, keeping an eye that it's dropping down. It is dropping down now. It looks good. So that's perfect. And I'll just keep pulling from this cake. I'll probably put this on the floor, to be honest, because I prefer having that much length. When it's sitting right next to my project or to my machine is not my favorite. But so far, so good. I don't see any tuck stitches or anything funky, and you know, every once in a while you can come in and give it a little pull. I'm going to come back when it's like almost touching the table. Hopefully we'll get that far without any issues, and give you like a little update. Okay guys, I can see why people want to put that little machine on here that turns it for you, because once you're just doing this and you're gonna do it forever, it's you know, it starts wearing on your arm a little bit, but this is so fun. I do want to say, sometimes I'll hold onto my machine like this, you know, as I'm cranking it, so my hand's here, it's cranking, and I was like, what is going on? I felt like stickiness or something on my hand. There's definitely oil coming out down there, which obviously keeps the machine going and all that. And the reason I'm mentioning it is because I think I had this stored right now. It was just like on a counter, but it was a little bit sideways. And I have a feeling the oil probably just like shifted to one side. And I've seen a thumbnail that YouTube offered me of someone saying like to hang up your machines. They have it like on a wood board or something and then hung up on the wall. So it's, you can imagine like this. I don't know that I recommend keeping it anything other than flat because of that oil that I'm experiencing right now. I've never felt that before, and I have a feeling just because it was shifted and it was sitting there for a few days like that, some of that machine oil or whatever started kind of moving. So just something to think about when you're storing your machines. Hopefully you understand what I was talking about with the tension. Out here is like the least amount of tension, and then this is a little bit more tension, and this is the most tension. And then sometimes I'll just use my hand. I'll just hold it with my hand and keep going, right? For this machine, for this Caron, again, I always feel like Caron is a thinner worsted weight, even though supposedly they're all the same weight, you know, whatever. It just has a thinner feel to me. So it works really well right now in this very first little hole, which is the tighter one. And again, it needs to pop off. You see how this is here? When I keep cranking, it's going to pop off. If it stays up there, it stays up there, it stays up, this little loop, that's not good. Your tension is too loose. So you need to tighten it up. And I hope that information helps, because I don't think I've ever seen a video where people really talk about that. They're just like, oh, I'll put it here. Okay, but why, right? So that's the reason. That's what you're looking for. If it's too tight, obviously, like if it's just popping off really, really tight, that's not great either. So maybe loosen it up, move it out here. But just like a soft rhythm of it popping off when you turn is what you're looking for. I don't know if I can show you as I'm holding this. But see, right there, it just popped off. The next one's up here. And hopefully it pops off, and then it pops off. You don't want it to go too much further from here than a few stitches, you know, before it pops off and settles in. And once you start getting a good length of your project, you can kind of give it a pull, just make sure everything looks good. And then you're going to start curling it up. So once it starts touching your table, or is going to, just bring it up like this, kind of into itself. Obviously do not let it pop off your machine here, but just curl it up so that it's just kind of inside out. Basically, you're just kind of curling it into itself to get it off your table. Okay, I'm gonna keep working. You guys, I just have to check in with you guys, because when this thing works, it works. And again, to me, it's, unless the machine is broken or like something's just really, it's user error, you know, it's using whatever yarn and it doesn't quite like it, the machine doesn't like it, you know, there's lots of reasons. Try different tensions. Right now I'm just cranking and I'm at 99 and no issues, and it's been lovely. I don't see any tucked or dropped or anything funky. Everything's great. Knock on wood. I probably still have another at least 100 rounds to go, I think. Again, if you're making a scarf and you just want it to be a certain length, well then, you know, stop whenever you like. But, or if you're making a hat with this is really cute, you guys. The reason I got it, honestly, was this little blue and white variation. I thought that was cute with everything else. It's going to be lovely. You know, hat, 120 rounds, 140 rounds. You want slouchy, you know, whatever you like. Maybe for a kid, 100 and some, you know, a little close to 100. You're going to fold it in half. Whatever it is that you like. If you want a brim, obviously it needs to be longer. I'm just going to keep cranking this thing out, and hopefully my arm doesn't fall off. But I'll be back. Oh, I tell you, it's work. So 153 rows, and I'm just, you know, bringing this up and curling it into itself as it goes. Everything's going really smoothly. I just want to show you that's 153 rounds, and I still have this much, which is like probably over half of it left. So probably get at least 300 rounds from this skein. I'll be back, guys. Just as I was speaking, saying everything's running so well, it kind of felt tight, and I'm like, oh, so I thought maybe something was going on down here. There is a knot here where they just, you know, continued the yarn. So I'm going to take that out and by hand just hold it and do this carefully. This can actually pass through that area at the top, no problem. So I'll just go like that generally. So I'm doing this slowly. It's not the best knot in the world. It's actually a really messy kind of knot, but there it goes. All right, so I'll just put this back into the tensioner. And I'll probably give it a slow turn until I get back to that knot. It's over here now. because I just want to make sure that it's not causing any other issues or causing any issues once you get around. Popping up, I see it went down, okay, and there it goes. So that seems to be okay. Let's give it one more turn. Just getting rid of that, and that should be it. Crazy. Oh, and this little counter is doing really great, the counter that I had reviewed the other day. And, you know, I went actually to the store, I had to go grab some groceries, and I went to sleep, and I came back, started cranking, and it went right back to where it was and kept going. So unless you press reset, it doesn't reset, even if it falls asleep. Okay, guys, again, sorry about how dark it is back here, it's just the way my lighting is set up, but let me see. I was going to tell you, I'm right at the very end of this skein. I don't know if you can see, there's just like a little bit left there. Let me see where we're at. 339 rounds. It'll probably do like 350, I would assume, with the amount that I have left here. But as I'm working, again, this really wants to touch the table, especially because as big as it is now. You guys, this thing has been rolled up and rolled up and rolled up, and I'm just trying to keep it out of the way. I'm actually going to turn it up like this now. Be careful. You don't want to pop these guys off, right? Your stitches. So I'm going to keep going. I actually took this to my dining table because it's lower. This is like a higher up table, more of a workbench kind of table. I think I showed it to you guys a long time ago whenever I first got it at Home Depot, but it's really high, so it's kind of hurting my shoulder to keep turning it and just being up here. So I'd rather have it down lower, like at a table level, regular table. But I mean, 340 almost rounds, haven't dropped a stitch, and that includes, you know, 5-7 rounds, whatever I did at the beginning of the black yarn. So this is really good. I'm super happy with it. I'm gonna finish up till I get close to the end because, you know, do you want to end off close to where you started? Probably, because you want to close up your scarf in a way that the ends, you know, your end strings are in the same position, basically, so that you can lay it flat, you know, crochet up the one end, crochet up the other end, and not have to kind of deal with your ends being in different places. But I showed you another video. In my last video, I was struggling to make whatever I was trying to make. I was trying to make a scarf at that time, and I just ended them wherever they ended, and it was fine. You just have to do some little trickery, right, to finish that up. But yeah, so I'm going to keep going until I get close to the beginning or end of a round, and then I'll bring the black yarn back in so we can finish that up and cast off. So I have about this much yarn left. It's like a couple feet. I don't know if it's enough to make a whole other round, so I'm going to go ahead and bring it around. And I would have loved to have 360 because we're at 358, but oh well, what are you gonna do? So here it comes around. There's my black needle or pin. I'm gonna go ahead and take this out. It might be enough for another round, but again, I'm not super sure. So I'm gonna just end it now. So I'm gonna tuck that in because we're going to do a waste yarn cast off. So I'm gonna bring in my black yarn again. Just gonna hold that for a second. Well, actually, we're gonna put it through here, and then I'll hold this part of it. Oh, don't get all crazy on me. All right. I'm gonna hold the end of it. Just make sure that one's getting pulled down, so is this one. That everything's catching. Looks good. Again, this is a different kind of yarn. I am going to tension it at the end of the tension. And just do this kind of slowly, and you see it's pulling down. That's what you're going to see with your tension. If it stayed up here, that black loop, that's not great. So it is falling down pretty well where I would want. And here we're back at the beginning where we left off our one piece. And I didn't tie it actually, so let me go ahead and tie these together just so we don't lose anything. Sorry guys, I usually tie it off after we've gone a couple rounds or a couple of stitches away, but I didn't do that, so let's tie it now. Okay, and I'm going to crank out maybe 5, 6, 7 rounds. Hopefully I don't lose any stitches, because that's counterproductive. I give myself a good amount though, because I don't really want to take this off and then be like, ah! Because basically you're going to drop your stitches, right? Which is what we've been trying to avoid the whole time. Okay, so that's like a good 6 or 7 rounds, and it looks like I'm dropping that stitch right there. I don't know if you just saw that. Ooh, right there, that one. Okay, but it doesn't matter at this point because we have that waste yarn there to help us out. Okay, just drop it in. We cut it off. And now just turn, 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 and let everything fall off. And that's crazy, I had dropped a stitch right there. So once you start doing that, look, it just starts coming away. And this one's staying because of the issues where I was having issues at the end there. Like this one doesn't want to come off. Let's go ahead and get it off. This one's also sticking on because I started dropping stitches. That's not great. Okay, so I want you to see that there are a few still held on here. I'm going to come around as it comes up. I'm going to knock it off because we don't want that. Take it off. Yeah, that's scary, huh? After, you know, 300 rounds, 350 rounds to mess up at the end. Possibly. But again, it's because I was using the Caron yarn, which was thinner than the actual other yarn. Okay. Now, we can essentially leave this just the way it is. This is the right side. This is the wrong side. People ask me about this as far as it's a machine come purl. The opposite side is your purl looking stitch, and this side is the knit stitch. So if you like the look of that, I mean, you can turn this inside out and wear it with the purl side out. Why not? Let me go to my overhead camera. That way we can finish this guy up. Okay guys, and for my regular viewers, yes, this looks weird even though I'm at my table. It's just I took the craft mat away because it wasn't there, so I'll just leave it not there. But anyhow, so let's turn this guy right side out and see how long it is too. Again, 350 some odd rounds. I love the colorway on this, it's really cute. Let's try to pull this guy out, oh my goodness. Since I did take my mat away, I didn't really have a measurement for you. I'll have to measure it later with like a measuring tape or something. My goodness, there's a lot still tucked in here. So yeah, just roll it up as you're working because you definitely don't want to have that touching your table and pulling. So this is where we started. Remember we had a little tie there, and basically when you do this, you're going to want to start on the opposite side. So let's go down the way. And let's just pretend like this is my side, kind of paying attention to that. You're going to give it the stretches that you would normally give this. This is really cute, you guys. I'm going to try to keep it straight. I don't want it to get too wonky. And hopefully when I end up on this side, I'll still be somewhat like a straight line, basically. Let's see if we're there. So the end of this one is here, and I did start and end the rounds, so let me go back up this way and see if where I got thrown off here. I'm gonna try and hopefully, well, that seems way off. Hold on, that can't be right. Oh, well, yeah, okay. It can. Just opening it the other way, just trying to get it straight. And basically this is coming this way. Okay, that makes some sense. I still want to get this on a side edge as best I can. So let me try to go back in the other direction and try to straighten this thing out and see if we're at all on the same page. It's really long, so I can see where it might go one way and the other. Again, I haven't really given it its pulls, but okay, here we are. So, and roughly in the same area, right? We don't really want this to be twisted and all that, so just making sure as I'm feeling this that everything feels about right. Come back over here, still flattening it out. Okay, now I'm more comfortable with that, so hopefully you can kind of see there are end pieces basically in the same spot. So right here, and this is that one piece that was really long. It actually went all the way in there, so what I'm going to do is find most of the end of that one. I'm just going to cut it now because I don't need all this here. So I'm going to cut it, and then I'll just pull this out later because I don't want it to mess up with all the work I just did right now. What I mean later is when I get to the side, because I know it went all the way over here as I was going through. Okay, so now you need your, let's start with any old side, I guess. You need your crochet hook, if that's what you're going to use. That's how you're going to end this, basically. So this being over here, let's pretend when this is tied, you have a loop there. This is the end of this loop, right? So you don't want to lose that, but we're going to use this later, so we're just going to leave that there and just come down over here with the, it's this loop round that we're looking for, the very first time we see, in my case, the green, right? So if I bring it back over here and, you know, roughly have it pretty well centered there. You're just going to take a crochet hook and pick one of these loops to start with. That's kind of how I do it. I'm just going to get like this one. And then you're going to grab the one next to it and pull it through. Okay, so since we did the one on the right, we're going to get the loop on the left next. Get that guy and pull it through. And then find the one on the right, the very top one. You're not trying to dig under, just the very first green one that you see, or whatever the color is that you're using. Pull it through. Go to this next guy and pull it through. Go to the one opposite, pull it through, and that's all you're doing, laddering up. And since this is a 40 stitch, it's only, you know, obviously it has all 40 stitches, but it goes by pretty quickly. So there, and then pull this guy. It's super easy, guys, so I will meet you when I get to the other end, basically. So just left, right, right, left, right, left, whatever it is that you're starting, just opposite ones, obviously, every other one. Okay. See, if you lose it, no big deal. Catch the one you had. That's the one you need to not lose, and then you can pull through the one you're trying to get. And the next one. Okay, I'm gonna keep going, and I will be back. Okay, guys, and as you get towards the end, you know, they start kind of hiding a little bit, but not so much. So obviously it's this one. So you want to really use a yarn that's contrasting in color. That's the other bit. So there's this guy, then this guy, then right down here, that's when they start getting a little sneaky. So this is the one that we had started with, right? The yarn is coming off here. You actually need to untie this at a certain point, but I usually do it when I get closer, because obviously we don't want that black one. We do want to keep this green one. Do not lose that. So when I get here, I see there's a stitch right here. I need to bring in. And then there's one right here that we should bring in, and possibly this one. That's what's kind of hard to tell sometimes. I'd rather catch one and be wrong than not catch it. So if I bring that one in, no problem. And then here we're going to catch this guy, the end, and go ahead and pull that through, because that will basically finish that off. And of course I split a thread there, part of the yarn. There we go. Let's pull that through. Okay. So, like I said, at the end I might have caught an extra one, but I'd rather do that than let it go and be wrong. Okay, so now we're just going to let this go. Since I think this was the cast on one, it's a little tougher, because if I just pull this, it's going to want to cinch it like it normally does, like a hat. So you're going to want to come through and find the very end of that and pull it out. And once you get that released, then you can just pull through. And some people just cut it, whatever you want. If you want to reuse this as waste yarn, then you probably don't want to cut it, because you're going to make it smaller and smaller every time. Let's see, where are we? Getting too far ahead of myself. The other one's going to be much easier because it just unravels. There's no tack down at the beginning, right? So I'm essentially going to do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to go through and just make sure that my scarf is still pretty flat and not twisted, you know? And then we should be good to go. Let me see if I can get this guy. Is that it? Is that it? Is there one more? Okay. And now we can just start pulling it. And it should just unravel. It might get tied up with this guy, which I have not put away yet. So if you want to stitch this one away just to have that done, you can definitely do that, because what happens is these guys all want to knot into each other. So just wherever you can start getting this thing going, just pull it. It's giving me a little run for my money today. I don't know what that's about. Weird. There's too many ends here. That's what it is about. Right there. I can see a few ends that are just like converging here, causing a problem for me. So guess what? I'm not gonna mess with this too much more. Let's just cut it. There we go. And there goes that piece. You're just gonna pull this out. It's like magic most of the time, but right now it was just really getting caught up in that last bit there. And then as you pull, it all just comes out. And then now you have this nice, sorry about that. emergency vehicle coming through. Okay, so now you have this nice end, and then we're just going to hide that end there. So I'm going to go through and just take this to a longer table and just make sure that I'm still going to be nice and straight when I come up to this opposite side. And then I'm going to do the same thing. Just put it together, catch one of the loops, left, right, left, exactly the same. And I'll be back at the very end, and let's see if it'll cooperate with me this time. But like I said, exact same thing, just starting. We'll get this put away. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and cut it. Should just cut it the first time. Like I said, you don't really need too much of this. All you need is enough to go through your loop and then just help you put it away. And then with this one, on this side, we should just be able to pull it, and that's fine. I did pull the green string that was left inside. Remember how I cut this one? I left the rest of it. Just grab that, and hopefully it's all nice and straight. And you guys, I cannot believe how beautiful this feels. I love it. So, you know, these cakes, like at Michael's, again, I can use that. Just roll it back up. I like $12.50, some $12.99, I don't know, something like that. You know, I got 25% off, so basically you're making a cute little scarf for yourself for around $10 or a little bit less. You know, something to think about. And with this guy, I'm just going to take the end, I'll do the same thing with the other one, and just weave it in. You already have a knot. If you want to tack down a couple more, just do another knot, and then you can definitely do that. You can add tassels. People like to do things like that. You know, you can duplicate some stitches. You can just go back in here and basically just go through and pull this through, because all you're going to do is kind of let that stay inside. I'll do the same thing with the other end. So I'm just going to cut that, give it a tug, and that end will be inside. You want to add some tassels. I like my scarves just like this. I think it's cute. I was thinking about making a pocket scarf. I mean, there's lots of other ways to play with these guys. Let me unravel this. It is really long, and it actually kind of coordinates with what I'm wearing since there's so many colors, and I'm wearing kind of like this pinky purple. So I'm going to weave this end in. I'll give you a measurement. I will hopefully have some pictures, and yay, it worked. So Caron always gives me a run for my money. I don't know, but on that tighter tension, it seemed to work really well. So again, it just has a thinner look. Like, these are supposed to be the same weight yarn, and I mean, you can see the difference, and they're both 4s. I mean, I don't know if you can tell how puffier this one is. I know I messed with it, but like, Caron's always just like lighter weight. I don't know. Anyway, all right, guys, thanks for watching. That was really fun. Just cranking away and having something cute in the end for it. All right, I'll see you at the next one. Bye now.